Hi everyone, how are you? I'm gonna have a good video today because I'm gonna explain to you what are the good ways to choose a domain name. Right? Many people choose domain names that are not so good, like hard to pronounce, hard to spell, have dashes in them, have like numbers, whatever. And many good domains are taken. You know, you wanna have you have a cleaning business, you wanna have a cleaningbusiness.com. No way, right? It's taken. So I'm gonna explain to you how to get a good domain name, even from the ones that are available. Okay. First, I'll go to good practices. Then I'll go into mistakes, and then we'll go through some examples of how to get domain names. Okay. So, what are some things you want to do when you're choosing a domain name? So it should be short, like relatively short, not like really short, but you know, it shouldn't be like more than 10 characters, and even 10 is a little much, because what happens is you want people to remember it, and you want people to be able to like spell it. So part of remembering it is you don't want to make it too long. Then you want to use as much as possible English words that are easy to spell. And by the way, not easy to spell for you, but for people who may be like not that educated, or maybe people who are younger, or so it must be really easy to spell. Not so don't put some complicated words in there, and don't project your own spelling skills onto it. Think of, you know, maybe people in other countries whose maybe it's not English is not their first language also. So don't project your own spelling skills onto it. Make it easy to spell for everyone. The next thing is easy to spell, also easy to remember. It should be something memorable. It should stand out. Okay, what's next? And okay, of course, it should give a hint about your brand, so about your company. So, and that's a hard one to get because that's subjective. I mean, I kind of made a little mistake with it, even in my experience. Like when I named my website Problemio.com, the hint was that Problemio is like, you know, in business school they sort of ask you, so what problem is your business solving? And I thought I'd play on that and have like Problemio. And notice it's not an English word either, and some people are not certain how to spell it. Is it problem.io or problemio.com? So there's some mistakes that I made as well. So it's not easy to get a domain name right. But I wanted to choose something unique that was available, and that, you know, I wanted to have that play on that very fundamental business concept. But most people, they kind of don't quite get what the reference of Problemio alludes to. So actually, you know, I made some mistakes in naming my website, and then I kind of corrected some of them with, now I have a blog which is glowingstart.com. So that has English. Maybe it's a little long, but it's easy to remember, it's easy to spell, and it's sort of natural to say. So it has some advantages, but it's not, you know, catchy. It's not too catchy. Maybe it sounds a little cheesy. So it's very hard to get all of these factors right. And in fact, when you do get them right, probably that domain is very expensive. So there are trade-offs. So let's talk about things you don't want to do with your domain name. So these are the things that are going to kill you. Not physically, not literally, just it's going to damage the traffic to your website. So you don't want to violate any trademarks. You kind of want to check it out, because, and that's in general, like I don't give business advice on, you know, videos or my apps, but in general, one thing to consider is, are you violating any trademarks of someone else, of some big companies, right? Like if you know, Nike.com, but what if you name your website Nike blah blah blah, right? Nike cleaning. Okay, you have a cleaning business like Nike cleaning. Does that violate the Nike trademark? And would Nike try to get you to close down your business because they don't want to be associated? They don't want to have Nike associated with cleaning. Well, you gotta, actually, I don't know if they will, but it's something to look into with a lawyer, because lawyers can really help you with this stuff, and it will save you from having to change your name later. Most of the time that's not an issue. Most of the time this is not an issue, but sometimes it is. So you kind of want to be careful that you're not infringing on other people's trademarks. Now, I already covered that you should have your domain names short, the flip side of that is don't make them long. That's the other mistake people make. Also, try not to have numbers. Try also not to have like underscores or the hyphens. I don't even know if you can have underscores. I don't think you can. But don't have hyphens in there. Hyphens are like no good, and you'll always have to explain that, oh, there's a hyphen. Don't do that stuff. And don't get domains like .biz or .info or even .net. Stick with proven domain names. .com. Some people like .co. Some people like .io. I don't even really like .co and .io. I really just like a pure .com, or if you're in different country, in UK they have this .co.uk. Obviously you can do that, but also if you intend to have a more global presence, then you should have a .com is the best. Now there's like millions of sites out there, right? Many of them have names that have been already taken, and so even the names that are available that are good aren't free. They're not cheap. Like usually a regular name is pretty cheap. It's like $7.99 or $10.99 on GoDaddy.com, so you can get a regular domain name really cheaply. And that's per year. But the good ones, they won't sell it to you cheaply. The good ones that are available, they'll sell it to you for thousands of dollars. So what you want to do is, now you have all this good practice things, right? Also, of course, I forgot to mention, one thing you want to do is take a look at also, what Twitter names are available, what like social network like screen names are available, because you don't want to have your website be like one name, and then because that name is taken on Twitter or whatever, then you have to have a different name on Twitter and a different name on a different social network, and it just becomes confusing. And the more confusing it is, the harder it will be for your audience and your customers to keep in touch. So make it easier for them, and every time you make something easier for them, that will increase their engagement with your business a little bit. So you always want to make things simple and easy for your clients, always. The more clear, the more simple, the better. So do some research about it, and don't rush into getting a domain name, because it's something that you get it once, you really just get it once, but it sticks with you through the whole duration of your company, unless you want to rebrand or redo the site, and it's a pain. So you really want to get it right the first time, so don't rush into it, take your time. Now, how do you buy the domain? Well, you can go to, I bought my domain at GoDaddy.com, which is the biggest. They have a stupid funny name. I don't think they got their name very good either, right? They have a kind of a dumb name. So it's, as you can see, it's difficult to get a good domain name. So they are GoDaddy.com, which is a bad domain name, and they are the site for getting domain names. You see, it's not easy, even for people who are pros. So GoDaddy.com, and they have a little tool right on the homepage to choose, to select domain names, and then to see whether yours is taken. And if yours is not taken, the one you want, if the one you want is not taken, you can just buy it right there, and it's really cheap if it's not one of the premium ones. So that's it. And usually you will go through like many trial and errors of domain names, because most domain names are already taken. So you'll have to just try, and eventually you'll stumble on a domain name which fits most criteria that I mentioned, and which is cheap, and then you can grab that one, and that's a good. So it's hard to get a really amazing domain name. It's hard to get, if you're a cleaning service, it's hard to get cleaningservices.com. Right? It's taken. I don't even know if it's taken, but I bet it's taken. It's even hard to get, let's say you're in Boston or New York. It's hard to get New York cleaning services. Yeah, it's probably difficult, because there's a lot of money to be made with that kind of a business, because there's a lot of demand, so it's a lot of competition, obviously. So it's not even easy to get that kind of domain name. So you got to be a little creative. You might want to do, if you're in New York, you might want to do NYC cleaning, or that's also probably taken. So you got to do a bunch of variations, and then eventually you'll get to one that's not taken. And if you are happy with it, think about it. But once you do decide, grab it, because who knows? Somebody might take it. Usually, if it's available, nobody will take it within a short time, because it's already been available. But you never know. Just grab it, and you can always return it. I think there's a 7 or 11 there's a 1 or 2 weeks return policy on GoDaddy.com, I think. Something like that. But they do give you a space, maybe it's like 5 days, but they give you a space to return the domain name. So that's it. That's how you choose a domain name. I hope that helps. And actually, if that did help and you bought your domain name, put it in the comments. Or if I missed something, put it in the comments and let me know if there's any tips that I forgot. But I'd be very excited if you chose a domain name and you actually, according to this video, and put it in the comments, because I'd get a kick out of it, and we can discuss it we can actually discuss your domain name ideas in the comments here, and I see the comments when people post, so I'll reply. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to my channel, and of course, please check out my mobile apps that I worked on. They cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, and they're available on iOS, Kindle, Android, and you can just find them on problemio.com, which is my website. So problemio.com, you see my domain name, hard to remember, hard to spell. I didn't get it quite right, but hopefully you'll remember. I'll also link to it in the description of the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.